Well, it's Baruch Fleischman here. I'm back at the Tikkun Elevator Kollel. We were reading this book, this tremendous book, The Ultimate Connection with God by Rabbi Yosef Chaim Mimran. This is my third time reading the beginning of the book. The end of the book has many, many techniques that a person could use to really get very close to God. And one of the things we have to understand is in order to be really good at this, one has to purify himself with Torah and Avodah and prayer. So here we are, we're really talking about thinking, but thinking has a lot to do with prayer. Our thoughts, which are they, what are they? So now he's been going through and he went through some ideas and he said that we're compulsive thinkers. We think over and over again. It causes us to be separate from others and not be able to see the unity that really ties all reality together. Not able to see that because we're so involved in our own thinking, which is an emotional reaction, a physical reaction. He says like this, who is really in control? This is the lecture number 5 by Rabbi Yosef Chaim Mimran. It's possible to attach to the Holy Shekinah even though it is comparable to a consuming fire. So he says you compare the Shekinah to a burning fire. This is possible since the soul is an aspect. It's considered to be as a flame, and it lit from the light of the Holy Shekinah. And that place is true Dvekus. Now, I read it a little bit bad. I'll say it again. Now, how is it possible for us to cling to a fire? He says it's possible since the soul is also considered a flame. So it's like lighting a candle from a candle. So inside of us is something is hot too, something full of light. And it's lit from the light of the Holy Shekinah. And that place is true Dvekus. Ask yourself this, are you able to be free of your mind's control whenever you so choose? Can you simply turn off your mind and if that is what you decide to do? Do you even know how to find your mind's off button? Wow. If you answered no to these questions, then you can be fairly certain that your mind is in charge of you, and not the other way around. Your mind is using you. In that case, you have so thoroughly identified yourself with your mind that you aren't even aware that your mind is enslaving you. It's as if your mind has possessed you to such an extent that you believe you are your mind, or whatever you're thinking is you. Wow. It's like an avodah zarah to the mind. If you can recognize that you are possessed by the mind, and you know that the entity that has possessed you is not you, then you have taken the first step towards a life attachment to your innermost being. So he's telling me that the you that is really me is not my thoughts, leading you to an attachment to the Ribono Shel Olam, the Master of the Universe, when you understand that you are not the thinker. You are not the thinker. Your mind is thinking. Then you can take a step back to gain an objective view of the mind, so you can observe and come to know what it is. Let's stop for a moment to put this theory of being a watcher of the mind into practice. Close your mind and simply be aware of the random thoughts that come and go through your mind. So just watch your mind. Imagine that you are an objective bystander, watching all the activity in your head, including the very thought that is telling you to watch your thoughts. So you have a thought on top of a thought on top of a thought. This might feel strange at first, but very soon, with a bit of practice, you'll see that it is actually possible to be conscious of every thought that enters your mind and demands attention. If you give in to that demand, allowing your attention to be drawn to the thought, that thought will have succeeded in possessing you, and you are no longer the master of your mind. Let's get into it again. So he says, You can be conscious of every thought. If you've given into that demand, that is to start thinking and getting into this thought, allowing your attention to be drawn to the thought, that thought will have succeeded in possessing you, and you are no longer the master of your own mind. Once you begin to observe your thoughts for what they really are, they're entities that separate from yourself. In other words, they're separate from that are separate from yourself. You will find that you have access to a higher level of consciousness, and on this level there are many things you suddenly come to understand. You begin to realize that thought is by no means all there is to our human existence. And he says, I read the wrong word, to our human intelligence. You begin to realize that thought is by no means all there is to our human intelligence. Suddenly you know that there is a vast amount of intelligence that can take you to realms above and beyond the limitations of thought alone. Now, what we call thought is the processing of ideas. Thought is only one infinitesimal facet of that intelligence. Now, he said this sounds like Rabbi Mimran, Rabbi Nachman, where he talks about the seichel sheyesh b'chol davar. There's an intelligence in every single thing. In fact, all the things that truly matter, beauty, joy, creativity, love, inner peace, come from a realm that is beyond what the mind can conjure. And when you realize you begin to awaken into you begin to awaken to a stunning new reality. There is a vast amount of intelligence that can take you to realms above and beyond the limitations of thought alone. So we have to see what that intelligence is and try to understand it. This is Baruch Fleischman at the Tikkun Elevator Kollel.